Guys, I know how to calm anybody down if they're having anxiety or if they're having a tough day. Just let them know that the live action reboot of the Powerpuff Girls is coming to the CW. Not a good idea? Alright, we're gonna scratch that. What's going on, you guys? James here with some real news, and today is an update video after our first official look at the Powerpuff Girls live action reboot coming to the CW. We did a video on it, we talked about it. Oh boy, did we talk about that thing. But man, I cannot believe the news that we got today about it, because I'm gonna say one thing. This show's in trouble. Now, before we get into why it's in trouble, guys, if it is your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James, where we talk about news updates like this all the time. I get into some reviews and reactions, so if you enjoy that, go ahead and hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, and tap on that bell so you'll be the first one to be notified when anything major drops, and go ahead and smash that thumbs up button if you are just a fan of the Powerpuff Girls in general, and don't forget to get loud down below in the comments, guys, and let me know, what do you think of this news and the future of this live action reboot? Alrighty, guys, so let's go ahead and get into the news. This comes from Variety's Joe Otterson. He reports, and I quote, "The network has decided to rework its pilot for Powerpuff, a live-action follow-up to the animated series The Powerpuff Girls. The show's four leads, Chloe Bennet, Dove Cameron, and Yana Perrault, and Donald Faison remain attached to the project, as does the remainder of the cast and the creative team behind the show. The network will film a new pilot for the series off-cycle. The show generated significant interest from the time it was first reported as being in development and was seen as a strong contender for a pickup going into pilot season." So you can find that link to the article, the full article, if you want to read it down below. And it's funny because this news was sandwiched in between the CW giving life to series like the DC Project Naomi and All-American Homecoming. So guys, we gotta break this down because this is not good. When a pilot has to be reworked completely off-cycle, that means a few things. And at the top of that list is, the network is really not confident anymore in this show's direction. And yes, that's me speculating a little bit, but if they were confident, guys, I don't think that the CW would come back to the directors, the showrunners, and everyone involved and say, go ahead and rework this pilot. That's gonna call for reshoots. That's probably gonna call for a lot of rewrites. And guys, that is not a good sign, especially going into a show that is expected to be picked up. The key word is expected to be. And if it's not already picked up for a full season, well, that's not a good sign either. And then you have to wonder about the execution of these characters, bringing them into a live action setting. And at the top of my mind is Nicholas Podani as Mojo Jojo. This is a character that works really well and worked amazingly well in the cartoon, right? But if you bring that to live action, it could go either way. One, you could do really bad costuming because it would just look a little funky, or you could try to do a CGI approach. Yeah, we've seen The Lion King, that Disney live action adaptation, and it wasn't really live action, but they used some live action scenes, so they considered it as such, and most of it was CG, so maybe they do something similar with Mojo Jojo. But then you go down the cast and crew list and you start to see that maybe a lot of these other characters might not be able to work out too well at all either. They're gonna have to approach this new pilot very, very carefully, because if they go back and it's also rejected, I don't even think this show sees the light of day. And honestly, it's just possible that the pilot didn't hit for executives in any test audiences, so this would call for those reshoots, but for it to be completely reworked, guys, that's definitely a red flag. And I don't want to be doom and gloom. This might be a good thing, right? Because it's possible that these reshoots, that this reworking is going to only help the show. I'd rather see a product that is going to deliver rather than a product that's going to be half-baked and unfortunately gonna spark a lot of controversy and outrage, because we've already seen that in the comments and the show hasn't even hit air yet. And we don't know much about the pilot, but what we do know is this, and this is according to tvline.com. They say, and I quote, "The Powerpuff Girls used to be America's pint-sized superheroes. Now they're disillusioned 20-somethings who resent having lost their childhood to crime fighting. Will they agree to reunite now that the world needs them more than ever?" Very vague, very expected, I guess, especially from a reimagining, because this isn't necessarily going to reboot the original. Yeah, we're getting all of our Powerpuff Girls, this trio, they're grown up now, as we see, but it does worry me that the final idea that they had was not picked up, so I'm guessing that they're going to have to rework even that synopsis of the pilot. And when it comes to the release date, guys, we don't have too much of an update on that either. It was unknown at the time of this recording, so I can only imagine that we won't see this earlier than the final quarter of 2021 or maybe even early 2022. This is definitely going to delay everything, and the process of getting this pilot up off the floor is a little bit tougher than expected. I did not see this coming. I really thought they were onto something because the CW seemed confident. They released that official first look, figured figured we get a poster this month, maybe next month, and a trailer shortly after, but now all of that's being pushed back. So I'd have to imagine that, guys, this is much more serious than they're even letting on. So to recap, in case you did skip to the end, guys, the pilot episode needs to be completely reworked because the network has decided it just ain't good enough. And that's pretty much everything in layman's terms. It just ain't good enough, y'all, because if it was, I'm telling you guys, they would have greenlit this, no problem. But I need to know what you guys have to say about this, because that is the real news for the day. Get loud in the comments down below, guys, and smash that big red button if you haven't already to stay in tune with everything we have going on here at the channel. And again, smash that thumbs up button if you enjoy news updates just like this. Alrighty, y'all, I need to go ahead and get ready for this Cruella review, A Quiet Place Part 2, and Spirit Untamed. We got a lot to talk about this week, guys, and I can't wait to do it with you together here on the channel. Again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening. Yeah, put down the pitchforks. I told you already. Put a hole in the roof.